The Grammys.
We're still like processing the trauma of the 2023 Grammys. I know we talked about it yesterday, but that was mainly focused on Sam Smith being cringy. And a little update on that is that CBS tweeted that they are ready to worship in relation to Sam Smith and Kim Petras' performance. And then they deleted that tweet after the backlash flooded in, saying that it was a satanic ritual.
Look, I think there's an interesting discussion here about the Grammys and acceptance and inclusion and mass hysteria with everything-ophobia that society is right now, in that Kim Petras won a Grammy. Dave Chappelle won a Grammy. Isn't this the liberal society that we have worked towards?
Where everyone can be accepted.
Where everyone can be accepted. Where Dave Chappelle wins his Grammy for making his jokes, and Kim Petras wins her Grammy for her awful song with Fat Satan. And we go from there.
Not Fat Satan.
Yeah, with Fat Satan. Okay, I called him Chubby Satan, but
you went easy on him.
I went easy on him. Breitbart called him Fat Satan. Like, look, there it is. That's inclusion, right? You won your Grammy. You won your Grammy. They weren't even participation trophies. Isn't this kind of what we want as a society? Am I wrong about this?
I mean, in theory, but then it never works when these people butt heads. So because Kim Petras and Sam Smith, both identifying as like gender queer or trans, won best like pop duo, right?
Yep.
Then Dave Chappelle wins best comedy album at the same time. You can't decide whether the Grammys is making bounds in inclusion and diversity, or if they are complicit in harm against the trans community.
You can't win
when you're part of that faction. So it doesn't make sense for them. And another thing is, I didn't know this, but Dylan Mulvaney was invited to the Grammys for some reason.
Yeah. And to this day, I say, who and why?
Yeah,
do mainstream people like know who this is?
I think kind of, but also, I mean, it's not unusual for random influencers or people with social media platforms to get invited.
Yeah, they invite just random people.
Someone
was
like
they literally hire
Dylan
people
Mulvaney,
to be good
who's
looking.
literally not famous for anything, like only famous for talking about the trans issue over and over again. Like on social media, it's not like
it would be funny.
Theoretically famous from Broadway shows.
It would be funny.
Not enough for anyone to
remember.
remember.
The grifting stage on TikTok.
It would be funny if they had like somebody should do a thing where it's like when you go to the Grammys, they have like a nosebleed section where they put all the TikTok people. They put the TikTok influencers and they put the activists in the nosebleeds and then turn that into a segment.
They put Andrew Tate there because his rap songs.
Hey, you leave Andrew Tate alone. You want like Free Cobra, am I right?
But he would be in the nosebleed section.
No way, man. No way. He'd
with all the rest of the social media influencers.
He would drive up in his Bugatti and he would be allowed in the main floor.
Another thing that happened that I was unaware of is people are mad at Trevor Noah because he sexualized Harry Styles.
But when Harry Styles sexualizes Harry Styles, no one cares.
He said that he's a sex symbol, and he said women throw their panties at this man, and when he puts them on, he looks better in them than they
I was going to say,
do.
they throw them at him because maybe they're like, you need something to wear. And he's
play this video, and we'll see if Harry Styles looks uncomfortable at this.
Sexiest man. Are you kidding? There's no competition. Sex symbol of the globe.
And here's an angry Harry Styles
kind
fan.
Of followed you around, that idea of you not just being a sex symbol, but that a lot of your music is inspired by this.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, I reckon. But I actually wanted to ask you genuinely serious.
Then he goes on to say he tries to think about it as little as possible because it's very strange. Women throw their panties at him and he puts them on and looks better than they do.
Well, when you dress the way
this woman is absolutely unhinged.
When you dress the way you do, you invite a certain amount of criticism. If he dressed like a normal dude, that comment would have never been made. Sorry.
I mean,
deal with it.
Even when other male celebrities have dressed androgynously, they didn't get the same backlash, only because we can tell by the tone of it that Harry Styles is doing this purely for attention, thinking that he's subversive, thinking he's super original, when in reality he's just stealing the ideas of people who did it decades before him, and they did it better and more tastefully, actually, if that's even possible.
If it makes someone comfortable to be a sex symbol, okay, no problem. But stop presenting yourself in all of these ways that seem somewhat sexual, right? Like you're in the conversation when you're on magazine covers and you theoretically write your own music, or I'm not sure what he does, but like if you want to stop being associated with sex, stop associating yourself with sex.
Yeah. And then when Harry Styles dresses in women's clothing, he specifically seems to dress in this style that is generally, I hope I don't get, us in trouble on YouTube for saying this. It's an actual term. He dresses in this style called Kinderhore.
Never heard it.
That actually was invented and is still worn by women, like female artists. That was actually like...
Wait, what is it? I mean, I heard that, like, what is it supposed to mean? Like, what is that supposed to be in reference to?
Kinderhore?
Like, is it because
it's
of,
like adopting the aesthetics of, like, girlish clothing, but then reclaiming it for, like, different adult themes. I don't really know the meaning behind it. But basically, he's taking that specific aesthetic for when he dresses androgynously and then sexualizes himself while dressed that way.
He kind of doesn't have not the right, like, at a certain point, you put yourself out there, right? Like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, having my every opinion critiqued or, like, doing something like this, but I've accepted that it's what I'm doing, and therefore whatever pushback or whatever commentary you get, good or bad, you've invited upon yourself because you made the decision to do that. You do not have to be a public figure if you're Harry Styles. You can move on and do something else.
He could do nothing for the rest of his life if he wanted to.
In this capacity, people see us and they see, like, I would say not even 1% of our lives, right? So they don't know what else is happening.
Yeah.
And for Harry Styles, I think if he is going to make a career off of being even more public. I mean, like, you guys are public in some capacity. He is even more public. He has to take ownership of his actions, right? I don't actually believe he picks out his own clothes. I believe he has a stylist for it, who is deciding that this is the style he'll dress in.
Makes
he's
him
saying,
marketable.
like, sure,
There's probably
whatever,
like a
sounds good.
firm that, like, tells him, like, this is, like, what would be good for you.
Is artsy and edgy right now.
Right. But if he doesn't like the way he's being perceived, he has to, at a certain point, decide that this kind of fame is not worth it for him, right? He has to decide that he doesn't want to carry on this, somewhat androgynous / like not androgynous style. Because the thing about Harry Styles is, like, if you look at him, he's fairly muscular. He's tall.
Yeah, he's in good shape.
He's
got, like,
not presenting as androgynously as a lot of, like, supermodels who are known for their androgynous look would, right? Like, he is masculine, he's just in feminine clothing.
Yeah.
And to that extent, you are wanting to be a part of this conversation. So you can't have it both ways.
These days it's just like how Ezra Miller was praised for, like, wearing lipstick and painting his nails back before he was a criminal.
It's so not edgy and it's so not cool. Like, it would be cooler if they did kind of what Prince and them used to do, which is, like, not draw attention to it, right? It's just who you are, right?
It's
so cooler
easy
if you
now
do that.
to adopt that aesthetic and have none of the authentic, like, artistic chops behind it.
Yeah.
To defend your decision of how you present yourself. And I don't know why, if Harry Styles is so uncomfortable by the comments Trevor Noah made, an army of a bunch of teenagers and women in their 20s need to go march on the internet in his honor to defend him. Like, he's a grown man that can speak for himself. Yeah. And if the moment made him uncomfortable, then he should say so, and it's none of anyone else's business.
Well, and if he doesn't like the specific joke, like women throw their panties at him, which is, like, theoretically a rock star kind of thing, right? Then, and he puts them on, he looks better. If, like, that bothers him, again.
I was just watching an old live performance of Muse the other night. They were performing Madness. I don't think it was like 2016 in, like, Germany or something like that. And there's this hilarious shot where I don't remember the lead singer's name, when he's walking to the front of the stage, and, like, 3 different sets of panties, like, basically just get thrown at him at the same time, and he just has to walk through it like nothing's happening. Like, it's the life you kind of sign up for if you're in that world.
I'm not saying it's pleasant, but, like, recognize that you have enough agency to act differently, right?
They don't believe in agency in Hollywood. That's the problem.
Or this is the price you're paying for the type of fame you're pursuing.
And to be fair, it's not like he said anything to Trevor Noah.
True.
He just looked uncomfortable, and he's like, that could happen to anyone, where it's like, Trevor Noah's
uncomfortable. I don't know why Trevor Noah's doing
Trevor
this.
Noah's got his job to do. He has to say something annoying. He's good at that. He's very good at that. And he goes up, he says something annoying that's like...
Now we know how Trevor Noah charmed Emily Ratatouille.
Who's the one that
we know he's picturing Harry Styles in women's underwear? Like that says more about Trevor Noah than anything else.
I thought Emily Ratatouille was with what's his name now?
Eric Andre. She was with Trevor Noah as well. She'll date all of them.
She'll get to
the list. She's just going down the list of annoying male feminists.
She's the Pete Davidson of women.
Every day that we don't have to talk about her is a good day. Like today doesn't count because it's not like about her, but like every day that like it's like another day marked safe from having to talk about Emily Ratatouille.
The difference between her and Pete Davidson though is that Pete Davidson is dating the hottest women and Emrata is dating like the worst, most like garbage looking men.
Yeah,
on purpose.
They excel. They go for the maximum. With the people we're dating, he's dating as hot as possible. She's dating as annoying as possible.
She's dating down.
Why do you think she's doing that?
I don't know. She needs to feel like she's in control or something.
Also, then feminists can't attack her, right?
Do you think that...
I sent you this video of Dylan Mulvaney, by the way.
Okay.
I think they were paying specially close attention to Dylan Mulvaney, like attending this red carpet, simply because it was recently announced that he got this like facial feminization surgery that like carves down your jawbones and stuff like that. I thought
like if they were who they were supposed to be from the beginning, that they didn't. Why would you need to do the surgery?
So he looks the way he believes he should.
We're not going to pretend that it makes sense. But if you look at this video, Brett, I need to put it on screen.
Sorry. I was watching it and like.
You're like watching in horror.
Kind of, yeah.
The narcissism is palpable.
Yep.
Like
this
you
is a whole
actually
video series,
think you're relevant to the culture?
It's funny too because this is like a video series with the guy who's always at these red carpets who does the sweeping, you know, crane video shots, and they're actually of like real celebrities who are like actually famous people.
Meanwhile, you just got like a TikTok grifter who's wearing a
who literally
gown.
Even if this guy is like doesn't know who it is, has to pretend like he knows who it is, and has to be like, you're so brave, because if you don't, you're going to be attacked and called names.
And then on the other hand, the CEO of the Recording Academy had to respond to the backlash on Dave Chappelle's win.
Yeah.
Saying, we don't control who the voters vote for. If the voters feel like a creator deserves a nomination, they're going to vote for them.
That's
We're also
democracy.
mad about Louis C.K. being in the nominees. He continued, we're never going to be in the business of deciding someone's moral position or where we evaluate them to be on the scale of morality. That is a lie. I think our job is to evaluate the art and the quality of art. We can make sure that all of our spaces are safe and people don't feel threatened by anyone. But as far as the nominations on the awards, we really let the voters make that decision.
That makes no sense because they literally say that what Dave Chappelle does is literally violence. That his words are literally violence.
I just think all of this was a ploy to become relevant again, right? Their viewership is extremely down. Sam Smith thing people have clipped and are still watching.
He's not relevant. He hasn't been relevant.
Dylan Mulvaney there, you get whoever's interested in that. Bringing on someone who's controversial but has like survived the controversy. Dave Chappelle, good. Like I said,
that gives you social media buzz, but it doesn't give you ratings of people actually tuning in.
The ratings went up
CBS.
It went up from like 8.9 million to 12.4 million. So it did go up.
So it did go up. And also, I said this, we talked about this on air a little bit, and again, it's adapt or die. All of these award shows have to realize that just streaming isn't enough for them. They have to live on social media. They have to become part of vernacular so people then tune in again next year, right? So if you have these controversial things, the chubby Satan, you have, Dave Chappelle, should he be there? You give Beyonce the biggest award of the night, and she makes history.
She set a record. She set
right.
All of these moving
all
parts.
Of this is so that when you look up any of these celebrities for the next minimum couple weeks, maybe even longer, your event, the Grammys, are associated with them. Like they are trying very hard to stay relevant, and they can risk some controversy letting Dave Chappelle be there. I don't think that his we let the voters thing. I just don't believe it. I think this is all a ploy to stay relevant to current culture.
I don't think it's working because even though they're saying it was a surge in viewers from the last 2 years,
it's a surge in viewers from record low viewership.
Well, and still in record low viewership from They had 26 million tuning in 2017.
Like they've only
40 million in 2012.
Right. Yeah. It's not a
You're at
complete change.
12.4 million and possibly going to drop once again next year.
But that's the gamble, right? They went up this year. Now they're trying to see if they can build enough momentum to keep it going. So if you remember, last year at the Grammys, they did this crazy thing, you're more likely to tune in next year. Even the conservatives who are against a lot of, whatever controversial performances, it's like hate watching, right? They're likely to tune in to be like, can you believe what they're doing? I don't know how many of them are watching. Actually, that's not true. Like a lot of them were like posting the social media clip, but there were people who are like, I'm watching the Grammys right now. It is a form of addiction. Yeah, in a way.
You
like
they know they don't want to watch. They know they're not going to like what they're going to see, but they can't help. But it's like a car crash, right? Like they can't help but tune in so that they can give their 2 cents about it on Twitter.
Can you imagine Chris Bertman? His live tweet of the Grammys, like hilarious, crazy. Yeah. And I feel like now that we know this event is weird, like when my example here would be AOC wore the Tax the Rich dress to the Met Gala. Met Gala is also dying as a art form. But I bet a lot of conservative journalists, the next time the Met Gala rolled around, were like, we got to keep an eye on that because she did something weird last year and perhaps there'll be another stunt. Maybe there wasn't anything. But even then, you're driving traffic to what would they allow people?
It also annoys me because it's like maybe like they should be celebrating the Beyonce win as like a good sign that we as a society are evolving. Like we are a society that tells everyone this group is oppressed. It's all so bad, yet Beyonce sets a record for most Grammys won by an artist, and she's an African-American woman. Like, that's a good thing,
well,
right?
Imagine the backlash if she hadn't won. If she were nominated and she hadn't won.
I don't even know who else was nominated.
Because it depends. Like, if someone, another black female artist had won, they might have been okay.
They ended up letting the Andrea Riseborough nomination go through for the Oscars, where there was the question, like, will they allow her to be nominated, because they thought they took away, like, because she was like basically like a okay. So essentially, for Andrea Riseborough, she was not nominated in the traditional way, meaning that other actors started like a grassroots campaign by emailing the Academy and got her nominated. And of course, the race hustlers came out and said, you took a nomination away from the director or from the people who made Till, or the people who made what was the Woman King, or all these things. So they got really mad about it, and they got, and of course, because it's Hollywood and they have the room temperature IQ, like it got accused of racism. But the Academy let it stand, and I was surprised by that. I was surprised they didn't back down and say, "Oh my God, we don't want to be called racist. We will remove this lady's nomination right now." It was actually about as close to like a weird feel-good story in Hollywood as you can get. Is like this group of pretentious people felt so highly about this other pretentious person's art that they decided to pretentiously call in a way that didn't involve like a gazillion-dollar agency. Normally it's the studio that drives home those nominations and stuff, right? So it's like, it's as close to an elitist feel-good story as you can get, and it still went through. So that's good. But with the Grammys, it's like, who did she take the award away from? But she's also, we talked about, she's bulletproof. She's not allowed to be criticized, but it's still an accomplishment, right? She's still, like, the media should be focusing on what she accomplished, but they never do. They make one article about it. They're like, she set a record, but then in 5 years, they're going to pretend like nobody's ever been nominated. There's no minorities that have ever been nominated for this, that, because it's always a first for everything.
I think it'll just get smaller. Like, it won't be, right now she's like, she's the most Grammy award winning of all time, regardless of anything.
Exactly,
right?
That's impressive.
So then it'll be the most Grammy award winning Latino woman, or most
It's like Simone Biles, whatever. Like Simone Biles being the most decorated Olympian, like she's not
of all time,
not regardless of race,
super cool,
which is awesome. And like, and that's what they don't realize is that's what people get excited about. They're like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. That is actual human achievement. It's not it's not breaking it down into small categories for the sake of a title, but it's actual human achievement that we want to celebrate.
But they think there is a certain amount of good PR, right? Being like, we are the award show that, recognize this group that doesn't get enough focus or representation or whatever first, showing that we are the most progressive.
Then
I just don't know that will sustain forever. I don't know that it's a lasting business model, but I do think all of these things are an attempt to revitalize interest in the Grammys.
Then you get stuck pretending that Sam Smith is scary. Ooh, fat Sam Smith is very scary with his devil horns.
Do you think he got the costume and then like looked in the dressing room mirror and was like, yeah, I look good?
He's like, I look so cool
Looks
right
like he
now,
was wearing
dude.
a tent.
I just don't. It makes me feel bad, but I guess if you don't mind what you're wearing, I shouldn't feel bad about it.
I like the idea that like they didn't have like an actual hat, like they just stuck some fake horns. Like that's not a custom made hat.
It's
like
giving
Spirit
Party
Gum.
City.
Yeah, the hat gives Party City vibes. Like at the last minute, they just
Yeah.
took the fake horns and they put super glue on it and just stuck it on there and said, Go do your evil satanic ritual dance.
And it did give me like secondhand embarrassment when he's like trying to look sexy and like feeling himself and just like gyrating.
He could have been just reaching around and just ran into his body because he's so wide.
Yeah. Okay, that was savage.
Sorry.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. You're usually pretty nice on the show, Brett. That's uncharacteristic of you.
That topic yesterday annoyed me because everyone's like they're talking about it like it's the end of the world. I'm like, it's a fat dude playing dress up. I get that Hollywood is full of evil people. Can we at least laugh at the fat dude in red dress up?
Mm-hmm. Who's taking this so seriously? Like you're totally right. Secondhand embarrassment. What are you doing?
But they're like, wow, like we really made the conservatives mad, didn't we?
Yep.
Meanwhile, we're just like kind of grossed out and
also
laughing
you
at
can
them.
make conservatives mad over anything. Like it's not that big of an accomplishment to irritate conservative. It's just like
it's not hard to irritate conservatives.
He now has to live with this, the videos and pictures of this for the rest of his life, and like. You can look back and be like, I looked good when I was in my how old is he 20, 30? Like this was the body I hoped to represent.
This was your
the world.
career peak,
and it's like, and it makes me sad because the song "Latch" was actually good, and that's
he's a good singer. He's just wasting his talent on trying to be a shock jock.
He doesn't need any of this, right? He's got a pretty voice and. People like his pop music. He doesn't need to do these weird, flashy things.
Who's the British dude? The other British dude who like he's turned like self-fledged. Louis Capaldi.
On Doctor Who?
What's the?
He's a singer-songwriter.
The singer, but it's not Louis. Is it
Louis Capaldi?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about Peter Capaldi.
He did this interview on.
I wonder if they're related.
I don't think it's spelled the same.
He did this interview. Louis Capaldi did this interview on Graham Norton that I saw a clip of where. Graham Norton is like, so your album's about to come out and it's already sold out. What do you think did? And he's like, oh, pure sex appeal, because he's not like a particularly good-looking guy.
No, he's like he actually talks about like he talks about how he's bigger, and like that's like become like there's a weird type of like self-flagellation to his brand.
But he takes it in stride because he knows and also he's making tons of money. Like he knows he's good at this. He doesn't need to prove it to anyone. Whereas this. I don't know. I feel sad for whoever told Sam Smith this was a good outfit.
It's just stan accounts that are gassing him up.
Do you think it's actually possible that he's there and they're like telling him like we're gonna do this, this, and this, and he wants to say no, and he's just like, I can't really say no. The song is kind of about this stuff. I wish I hadn't written this
peer
song.
Pressure.
Now.
And whoever picks out this costume says, "Oh, you look great. This is so bold. You look whatever the cool kids' words are for good." All he
has to do here is wear like a dark suit with a red tie and a regular top hat or hat, like, right? He doesn't need the stupid looking Party City horns. Like, there's a way to make this less embarrassing.
There's
That's
just
not that difficult.
Thought put into it other than we're putting a non-binary person and a transgender person on stage and you're supposed to clap.
Yeah.
There was no creative thought put into it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.